Age of Men is over. The time of the Orc has come.
Alright, hello guys, welcome back to the Goblin King YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to discuss something. What was Gandalf's actual plan to get the ring into Mordor and into Mount Doom specifically? This is always something that I've questioned, because we're not really ever told what Gandalf's plan is. And when Gandalf reacts to what Sam and Frodo are doing, he seems very disturbed. Because, again, I just don't understand what Gandalf was thinking was going to happen. There's really only two ways into Mordor that we know of that are logical for Sam and Frodo to take. But before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do. It helps the channel grow, reach our appeal. I like this content as well, and let's get into it. So, the first one is just obviously it can't happen. The Black Gate. And the second option is the one they end up taking through Cirith Ungol. So my question is, what was Gandalf's original plan? Because Gandalf didn't plan to meet the Balrog in Moria. He didn't plan to basically die and then come back. So if he had been with the company, what would he have done? Because I think logically what would have ended up happening is I think Aragorn and Boromir would have gone to Minas Tirith. I think Legolas and Gimli possibly would have gone there as well. And Merry and Pippin is the interesting one, because I think Gandalf was going to go with Frodo and Sam. How would that have gone? And I think logically what would have ended up happening is Gandalf probably would have taken the same route that they ended up going with anyway. So my big question is, why does Gandalf seem so shocked that they ended up taking this way to begin with? Is it because he's surprised that they knew about it, or that they were traveling with Smeagol/Gollum? What was Gandalf thinking in this moment? And there's a specific line, and this quote comes in chapter 4 in Return of the King. This is when Faramir has just returned to Minas Tirith, and they are basically supping with Denethor. At last, when Faramir spoke of his parting with the travelers and of their resolve to go to Cirith Ungol, his voice fell, and he shook his head and sighed. Then Gandalf sprang up. Cirith Ungol, Morgul Vale, he said. The time, Faramir, the time. When did you part with them? When would they reach that accursed valley? So again, Gandalf is very much concerned by this, which again, he should be. Again, these are the people that have basically the fate of the world on their backs. And he seems very concerned by this. So my question here is, would Gandalf have taken the same path? And in my opinion, I believe he would have. But would it have succeeded? And that's where I think we differ. When you think about Gandalf and why the Balrog is able to find him, it's kind of the aura of two things, the ring and also Gandalf's presence as a whole. He makes himself well known outside of Moria when they are fighting the wolves that attack their camp. So when we get directly into the Black Lands, it wouldn't have been easy for them to survive. Remember, the thing that keeps Frodo and Sam alive when they get into Mordor is the idea of stealth. They are basically hiding. There's just so much here that they would have only been able to get into Mordor through stealth. If Gandalf had been there, Sauron would have known, there would have been much higher watch, and even if Gandalf had went with them, Rohan would have failed, Minas Tirith would have failed, all of these things would have failed, and the world would have been at a loss. So, again, we think about Fellowship of the Ring, and we think about Gandalf when he falls and, dies for the present. It's a good thing. Because without it, Sam and Frodo would not have been able to destroy the ring. Think about it like this. Would Gandalf have tolerated Gollum or Smeagol being around when they were going to destroy the ring, if they even got to that point? And like Frodo thinks about, if Gollum had not been there, it would have been a failure. Frodo could not destroy the ring. And Frodo even notices, if Sam would have tried to take the ring, or not even take it, but tried to, basically just hold it so that he could share the load, because Frodo is struggling to walk, is struggling to keep going on these trips to Mount Doom, it would have broken Frodo's mind. So I think that's something that's very interesting. The way that Frodo gets rid of the ring is something that's able to keep him sane. So again, Gandalf, I think his initial plan would have been the same thing as Frodo and Sam. I don't think he really had thought it out yet, but I think inevitably that was what is going to have happened. It was the only possible way of even getting into Mordor without being straight up seen by the Black Gate. When we look at Return of the King and Aragorn leading these forces of the Men of the West, the Dunedain and the Men of Minas Tirith and the Men of Rohan, well, it's not really passable. There's just too many ways you can be seen by orcs within the mountains. There's too many paths they would have been seen. So again, a very short video for today, but I wanted to just talk about what Gandalf's original plan was, and I think the plan would have eventually have just became what Gollum's plan was, but it would have been vastly different circumstances, and the consequences could have been dire. So thank you guys all for watching this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys!